No, Lottie wanted to take, I don't know, every child to Disney World when they came of age.
I thought you did that.
Well, not the two little ones.
Oh, that's true. So you've taken them?
Tomorrow,
Oh, my God.
for a whole week, Justin's daughter's been there, I'm gonna tell you, are those mine? Justin's daughter's been there 2 times already, but Mirabelle has.
Oh, okay.
So do you want to go up sometime? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
You know who's my friend now?
Joel?
Ruthie. Instead of giving her money, I give the bartender $5 and say, "One week is off work, buy her a beer." And she just thinks that's the piece.
She's been here a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
Which bar is this?
It's Midtown.
Midtown, your Midtown. So Gary, is it terrific for your knee?
Both my knees are not great.
Are you getting replaced?
No, every time I hold off, I'm doing PT. Sometimes I think it's worse than it was.
Did you see that those, I don't know if I didn't get the paper today, but those 11 doctors practice UW,
Yeah,
who went from SS.
How big?
Well, they're gonna use the UW facilities. It's, was that on the internet today?
I didn't see it in the paper.
doctors are starting to go.
But they said that they're
UW.
gonna, so that they're gonna use UW facilities.
Really?
I saw it, then I saw it on the internet.
Oh, that's interesting.
Let's see. What are they, orthopedic surgeons?
Yes. Hey, sweetie, how are you?
Did you email the end? Yes. That would be great. All right, what I do, I can't walk into an area. It's just not possible. Okay, it's stopped already.
Oh, my God. But is
To the UW Health here.
it the UW Health doctor?
No, it says SSM Health.
They were still going to redeem it.
Anyway.
Partnership.
Oh, sorry.
I just saw your
Is it just that you want them or no? There's some gas down
They got good masks.
It's going
They just got those black ones.
I've got the one that. I wear this everywhere. I wore it. I went down to see the Stearns.
Behind the How are they?
Great. They say hi.
Where do you live?
Sarasota.
Sarasota. Oh, so you went down there already? Nice.
It's fabulous. Oh, it's warm and the sun is out. Hey, Steve.
I've never been here with these chairs. So
When are you leaving?
Hey, you know what? We're just teasing you.
double
They
check.
just ordered like this chicken. Just
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's such a pleasure to have you with us on this cold, but not snowy night, at least not yet. This is a chance for us to be together in community, a chance for us to bring the offerings of our hearts to this place. We welcome one another in the spirit of peace, in the spirit of comfort as we gather here together. On this Erev Shabbat, we welcome this in-person congregation, and we welcome our congregation that is with us online as well. Just to remind us of the resources for worship that we have. In the sanctuary, we have Mishkan Tefillah, our prayer books. Online, we don't have a prayer book exactly in its entirety available, but we do have a couple of links available for you to try and acquire one, an ebook version or perhaps your own printed copy. There is also here in the sanctuary a program for tonight, and there are some important resources here that our congregants will take advantage of. And if you're joining us online, you actually have some things that they don't have here. Because on page 7 of the program, there are links to Hamantaschen recipes, which really only operate if you have a virtual version of the program. If you have a print version of the program, it's harder to get to most of them. So you have to go home and you have to find the archived version, friends, if you want to click on all of these Hamantaschen recipes, which are all from the Reform Judaism website, by the way, so you'll enjoy that. But we want to welcome everybody here on this night when we have so much to think about and so much to worship for, so much to offer our hearts for. We want to turn in the supplement, in fact, to page 4 as we begin.
There's an old Yiddish folk song where the poet writes that if they only had the strength, they'd run through the street shouting, Shabbos, Shabbos, Shabbos. The Yiddish folk singer Adrian Cooper reimagined this in her time, saying that if she only had the strength, she'd run out in the street shouting, Tzedek, justice, or Shalom, peace. If my voice were louder, if my body stronger, I'd run through the street shouting justice, justice, justice. Wollt ich gehad koyech, wollt ich gelaufen in die Gassen und geschrien Tzedek, oi Tzedek, Tzedek, Tzedek. If my voice were louder, if my body stronger, I'd run through the street shouting peace, peace, peace. Wollte ich gehabt koyech, wollte ich gelaufen in die Gassen und geschrien Shalom, oi Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Yada la 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 la, yada la 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 la, yada la 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 la, yada la la la, yada la 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 la, yada la 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 la, yada la 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 la, yada la la la, yada la 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 la la. Yada lai 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 lai, yada lai 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 lai. Wollte ich gehabt koyech.
You know, we are all tested by life. We are all tested by the things that we encounter every day, and we naturally wonder how we are going to respond when the time comes to offer a response to the challenges we meet along the way. A whole year of war taking place in Ukraine. Earthquake victims by the thousands in Turkey and Syria. A day of hate declared by the haters of our people in this nation. And then the exhaustion of the week gone by that each of us confronts and each of us has to deal with. But may we, in the company of this congregation, find the strength of good people, and may we find that same joy across the Oneg Shabbat table later on. May we find wisdom in our prayer book and in our tradition. May we find comfort to the troubles we find in our lives, and may we also find joy somehow in this new month of Adar that just started, a month when we can be merry even in the darkest of times. Shabbat Shalom. May this indeed be a day of peace. I would like to invite Donovan Cito and Kira Cito to come to the bima and offer a blessing. This is the blessing, it's a meditation really as we prepare to light the candles to thank God for the light of Shabbat. Let's come right here, use the microphone, and then we have a little candle lighter there for the lighting of the candles when the time comes.
Thank you, God, for the gift of life with which you bless each of us.
Thank you for the gift of light that allows us to see, to know, to feel, and to express ourselves.
As a sign of Shabbat, may your light and truth continue to shine upon us.
When we light these Shabbat candles, we stand against the hatred, bigotry, and violence of the world.
When we stand against hatred, we break down the barriers of our lives and stand with one another in love and support.
And when we stand together, we feel confident that our words and deeds are one.
Praise are you, O God, who allows us all to see by your light. Would you like to light them? No. Different from mine?
It's not a trick one, but let's see.
Normally,
Here,
I do.
here, let me.
Okay.
You have to hold down this and then pull the trigger like that. Yeah, that's right. That works, sort of. All right, we'll just try it this way. There we go.
Oh, magic. Have to be special to do it.
No. Lucky, maybe. Okay. Thank you, friends. It's beautiful. You can take that. It's fine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
we'd like to ask you to turn to page 128 in the prayer book.
Indeed, asking for angels of peace and rest. Hachamam erosh ha'ilanot nistalka u'v'neitzeh likrat Shabbat hamalka Hinei yoredet hakedosha haberucha ve'imam malachim tzva shalom u'menucha boi boi hamalka boi boi hakala Shalom Aleichem Malachei HaShalom. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace.
Kabbalat Shabbat, we offer these psalms and songs to warm our souls, to prepare ourselves to enter the time of Shabbat. And may the breadth of this day, may its largesse continue to strengthen us and enrich us and give us lives of peace. We begin on page 131 with Shir Chadash. Page 131.
Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Pasru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Pasru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Tzapru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai, u'mehulal me'od, norahu al kol Elohim. Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Pasru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai, u'mehulal me'od, norahu al kol Elohim. Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Pasru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Pasru miyom leyom Yeshuato.
Page 138, Lecha Dodi. Tonight, offering 1, 2, 5, and 9, the verses that we'll offer. 1, 2, 5, and 9, page 138.
Lecha Dodi, Liperat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. לראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. אורי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
A psalm for the Sabbath day on page 140. These words from Psalm 92.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר ולזמר בשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני.
One of the purposes of Shabbat is celebrating the miracles of the creation of this world. The miracles that God created so long ago, the miracles of test tube and IT desk and screen that also are part of today's world of miracles. But every miracle maker needs rest. Every person who is involved in the ongoing creation of this world needs rest, and so we all take Shabbat, take this day to rest and relax and rejuvenate so that we can continue again all the miracles that each one of us creates. And they could be miracles of technology. They could be miracles of affection and love that we have in our hearts for our friends and our loved ones. They could be miracles of any and all variety. But we thank God for the human ability to bring miracles to fruition in our world. Our Ma'ariv service begins tonight on page 146. We ask the congregation, we invite the congregation to rise for a call to worship for Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
On page 149, at the top, we offer this together. Please join me. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide.
Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and
light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai, HaMa'ariv Aravi.
Amen. On page 150 at the middle, we join one another. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen. Page 152.
Shema
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. be seated. We continue on page 154 at the top.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Help us, God, creator of all, to continue to open our hearts and our hands to all those in our world who are poor and in need of liberation. The orphans, the hungry, the ill, the oppressed, the violated, those without hope, the addicted, the violent, the homeless, the imprisoned, the victimized. They all seek freedom of the soul. And through the gratitude that we feel because of the liberation from Egyptian slavery so long ago, help us to find liberation indeed in our day for all those who seek it. We continue with Micha Mocha on page 158.
Yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Micha mocha ba'erim Adonai, micha mocha Adar b'kodesh, Nora,
Nora,
Tehilot,
Tehilot,
Oseh,
Oseh,
Vele,
Vele,
Nora,
Nora,
Tehilot,
Tehilot,
Oseh,
Oseh,
Vele,
Vele,
Malchutecha ra'u banecha, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני,
Adonai,
ימלוך
Yimloch,
לעולם,
Leolam,
ועד,
Va'ed,
אדוני,
Adonai,
ימלוך
Yimloch,
לעולם,
Leolam,
ועד, יאי לי, יאי לי, 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 יאי לי, 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 יאי לי, 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 יאי, יאי לי, 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 יאי לי, 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 לי. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
On page 160, Hashkivenu, a prayer of divine protection.
לי, Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha v'taknenu beitzah tova milefanecha v'hoshi'enu leman shemecha v'hoshi'enu leman shemecha.
O source of life, ruler of the universe, you who planted the tree of knowledge in the garden, tree that helps us know the difference between good and evil, you who granted human beings free choice, be with us in these times. Holder, guard, protector, keep us safe on this night. Source of life and choice, you who know birth and death and the life that exists in between, bless our friends, bless our families, bless our hands as we work to heal our brokennesses. Shield us from harm along the way. Bless us all in these sacred spaces between you and us and others in this world.
Ushmor tzeitenu, Ushmor tzeitenu, Uvo'enu, L'chaim u'l'shalom, Me'ata ve'ad olam. Baruch ata Adonai, Hapores sukat shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
We now offer words of tefillah, of prayer, understanding that the strength of our people is found both in the words of prayer and the kavanah, the intention, the devotion that lies behind it. May we be sincere in finding the right words, and may our devotion indeed perpetuate that sincerity in our heart and in what we do in the world. On page 164, we invite one another to rise for the beginnings of Tefillah, page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
166.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim,
וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 168. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה.
ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Amen. Page 170.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We'll continue our tefillah silently. You may sit when you are ready to do that. And at the conclusion of our tefillah, we'll meet you first on page 4 of the supplement, and then on page 180 of the prayer book.
drawing wisdom from a verse in this week's parasha. This beautiful melody by Debbie Friedman of blessed memory. As we reassure ourselves of the nearness of divine presence. Ve'asu, ve'asu li mikdash, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti betocham, ve'asu, ve'asu li mikdash, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti betocham. And I will be with you in this holy place. Every word will soar to the heavens above. I will bless every soul in this holy place. With all I am, I will give until the end of time. Every day for as long as you live. Ve'asu, ve'asu li mikdash, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti betocham. Ve'asu, ve'asu li mikdash, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti, ve'shachanti betocham, ve'shachanti betocham, ve'shachanti betocham. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu.
180.
Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen.
Those who are ill, those who are wounded, those who are victims of natural disasters, all of them live in our hearts at this time. There are so many people in this world in need of healing, and whether they are from physical ailments or whether they're from emotional and psychological ailments, we hope that they find a healing, a wholeness in this world so they can live their lives as humans are intended to, with dignity and with joy. We have perhaps 80 to 90 people on our ongoing Temple Beth El healing list. And there may be other people who are in your minds now, or who are in the minds of you who are watching and with us online. Think of the people whom you know about who are ill at this time. And remember that a community like this, when we share blessings, when we hope for a complete recovery for them, whether that is God's will or whether there is something else in store, we know that they feel better when our community is with them in spirit. And so when we offer words of Misha Berach, and we let our loved ones know that this community specifically prayed for them, that will help them ultimately internally as they face their illnesses. If there are people in our sanctuary tonight who would like to share the name of someone whom they're thinking about, we invite you to do so that we can join their names to the names of all those that we think about.
Ron Numbers, Simone Schwaber,
Aaron Phillips.
Wounded warriors.
Jaden Edwards.
Rav Miriam Bat David Ve'anat. Others we should be thinking about? Dear God, aloud and in our hearts, we name those facing illness and pain. We join our prayers to the prayers of all who love them. We continue on page 371 with our prayer of healing, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avodeinu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. I want you to join me in the prayer book for a moment on page 231. My remarks about Israel tonight are inspired by two passages. One is this prayer on page 231 at the top, and the other is the segment from the parashah that we just sang, Ba'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, from this week's parashah, that they should make for me a holy place that I, God, may dwell within them or among them. So that passage that talks about this holy place is really about the magnificence of the holy temple which our people once worshipped. One can only imagine what it looked like. We don't have any photographs, obviously, but we have descriptions of a beautiful cloth-walled edifice standing on Mount Moriah,
And then another edifice that's the second temple, built from stones that had steps and courtyards and altar. And it was something to behold and something to be seen, cherished, worshipped, perhaps from afar. But then on page 231 of the prayer book, I read these words toward the top where it says, God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. So my question for each of us tonight is, who are we? And what are those events that God is disturbing us toward? Those are two disparate images. Maybe I'll get to the place where I can make myself understood why I'm inspired by these two images tonight. But I want to share with you an image, a third image perhaps, and something which some of you might have experienced while attending a Jewish summer camp. Not the magnificence of the temple in Jerusalem, I don't think. But I experienced this at camp, and even as a teenager when I spent 10 weeks in one summer in a youth village in central Israel. Because in those moments, we rose early in the morning. We went to our unit's outdoor sanctuary. We faced, well, in this country, we faced east. In Israel, we sort of faced south, I guess. But we faced the rising sun, and we offered the prayer, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Jewish morning worship, whether in the warmth of the sun or in the intimacy of the sanctuary, begins with these words of positive self-recognition as we stand confidently in the light of a new day. Far from self-aggrandizement, these words of praise of Israel offer an expression of our self-confidence. They're an acknowledgement of the privilege of worship. They are a sincere devotion to the mission of the people of Israel. And they are an aspiration that our tefillah, that is our prayer, our tefillah, will be acceptable and accepted ultimately. Truth to tell, we make those morning offerings while most of us are still a little bit asleep. Kids, you know. But these words help us to begin the day with enthusiasm, optimism, and hope. And by the time our worship that morning or any morning is complete, we are almost wide awake enough to wipe away the cobweb of sleep from our eyes and get back to the real business of Jewish camping, which is having fun. Now, but I want us to imagine something different for a moment. For a moment, I want us to think about offering this humble prayer, or really any of the prayers that we offer in our synagogues, but I want us to offer them with a different kind of conviction, a different kind of push, a different kind of disturbance, right? As this prayer in the prayer book has mentioned, with a little chutzpah. What if we offered our prayer not in a very quiet and beautiful meditative kind of way, or even a proud kind of positive way, but even with a little bit of chutzpah that the king Abimelech in the book of Genesis and the incident about him spoke about to Abraham. And I'll tell you, this is not a very well-known story. So a little bit of background. King Abimelech seized Sarah, Abraham's wife, perhaps as one of his trophy wives. And that wasn't too happy in God's eyes. And God says to Abimelech, hey, return Abraham's wife to him. And, you know, since he is a prophet, he will offer a tefillah, a prayer maybe, for your sake. And then you'll be safe from my wrath. So God is giving Abimelech an out, right, from his seizing Sarah as a trophy wife. But in that narrative, both commentators and translators assert that the word tefillah is not referring to a humble prayer said on one's knees, perhaps, or any kind of worship offering on Abraham's part. Rather, the text, they say, uses the verb lehitpalel, which is the infinitive from the word tefillah, or to pray. We might translate it that way. But they translate it differently. They say that Abimelech should get Abraham to intervene with God, to disrupt God, to say to God, you really have to pay attention to what I'm telling to you. Abraham has to get God's attention, and it won't be by a prayer, but it will be by an assertive confrontation of sorts. The implication of that reading of those Torah verses is that we must use our tefillah, we must use our prayer not only as a way of changing ourselves internally, but also as a way of disrupting and bringing about change through objection and protest, or as the prayer book says, disturbing us or disturbing someone toward their destiny. And perhaps this is an expanded definition of prayer than what we are accustomed to. Yet I hope that we can apply this approach to prayer or to disruption in our era of how we might view our relationship with what's happening with the nation of Israel today. For Israel, yes, we surely need prayer, but we also need intervention, interruption, and loving intention. If we care about Israel, we will surely want to pursue those goals. For Jews in the diaspora, Israel serves many purposes. Israel can unify us, it can make us ponder, it can frustrate us, and it can be our greatest joy. And we are told by tradition even that in worship, we in the diaspora, we turn toward Israel when we pray. In the Shulchan Aruch, which really, it's a 16th century guide to Jewish practice, which imitates the words or brings forward the words from Talmud, we are directed to adhere to this customary posture of tefillah, of worship. And we are told to rise, face east, and direct our intention and our tefillah, however you translate that word, toward Jerusalem, toward the temple, toward the Holy of Holies. In relation to Israel, therefore, we are offering nothing less than intentional, affectionate, and dedicated prayer, and in some instances, intervention and disruption and interruption. And we are offering ourselves to help the lives of our cousins in Israel, which is why here tonight we are considering ways of how we in this land can intercede on behalf of and in allyship with our Israeli cousins. We want to maybe help them interpose themselves, and by extension, by interposing ourselves in this most Jewish of ways, against perhaps the intentions and actions of Israel's new government, and helping to preserve our ties with our Israeli mishpacha, our Israeli family. And when I mention our Israeli mishpacha, I don't refer to people in general. I want to be specific. Specific individuals, prominent jurists, journalists, politicians, high-visibility Israelis. They have appealed to us who live in the diaspora, to their North American cousins, to their South American cousins, to their European cousins, for support and comfort at this time. For example, this past week, 3 prominent Israeli writers, all expat Americans, admittedly, who went to Israel a long time ago, who raised families there, sending their children to the army, and they write today from varying Jewish religious and political viewpoints. They offered a joint appeal to their diaspora cousins for assistance and support in the face of what they label as, quote, an evisceration of judicial independence. These prominent authors, Mati Friedman, Daniel Gordis, and Yossi Klein Halevi, they jointly cry out for the unity of purpose and a much slower process of change in Israel. They hope that Jewish voices from outside the country will bring sanity to any proposed set of changes in Israel's judicial, religious, or government life. Further, members of Israel's Reform Rabbinate have asked us, their American rabbinical counterparts, to contact Israeli lawmakers, asking them to oppose potentially disastrous changes to Israel's religious life. These modifications would narrow the scope of the law of return. They would impose a complete prohibition of liberal and egalitarian worship in and around the Western Wall complex in Jerusalem's Old City. These are things that can't happen. They tell us they need our help. We are their hope, in a way. And further, it is not only the fate of Israeli liberal Judaism that hangs in the balance, because how the government of Israel treats secular Israelis, that has an effect on the persona of Judaism and on the state of Israel, both inside the nation and outside. If the values and principles of Judaism are to guide the country through the convoluted pathways of political, civic, and religious decisions, Judaism must speak on behalf of all Jews, not merely those who promote one stream of Jewish practice. All Jews have a stake in how Judaism guides the Jewish state, and no one movement should monopolize Jewish public life. Further, the leader of one of the coalition partners now in power, a party ironically named Noam, which means pleasantness in English. This party stresses that a family should consist only of a father and a mother and children, and any other form of family is a threat to what they call normative construction. On that party's website, this group declares its support of gay conversion therapy. It objects to women serving in the military. It calls for the chief rabbinate to serve as a fourth branch of the government. This party, Noam, pleasantness, considers LGBTQ people to be an abomination. And as we have seen, many more of our Israeli cousins have indirectly asked for our help against assaults all across the social and territorial spectrum. This can be seen through the massive demonstrations that have taken place in the last 2 months. Over the last 8 weekends, on Saturday evening, hundreds of thousands of Israelis have gathered in city squares and public places, offering their own brand of tefillah, of intervention. And for the past 3 Monday afternoons, massive midday protests outside the government complex in Jerusalem have disrupted government business, have disrupted traffic and work life. Employers have permitted their employees to attend these rallies, much to the consternation of the current government. We in the diaspora can stand with these members of our Israeli family as they make their case known to their new leaders. Early on, I entitled my remarks this evening, "In Which Direction Israel at an Inflection Point?" And when I wrote those words, I intended the word Israel to mean both the nation Israel and us, the people of Israel, because we both confront that proverbial fork in the road where the choices before us lead to starkly different outcomes, where neither of those outcomes can be reversed very easily, and where the best choice is not always the most obvious one. There's a popular Slavic folktale motif that has a knight in armor approaching a fork in the road, and a signpost is planted there that bears this inscription: "If you ride to the left, you will lose your horse. If you ride to the right, you will lose your head." That is a choice with no good alternative, but choose he must, and choose we must. We could reverse course, but most people think that that is not possible in the short term. So we must ask ourselves, which fork in the road should Israel choose? Which fateful pathway will lead us, Israel, to a better future for our Jewish nation? Which direction will we choose for the future of our people? My friends, our Israeli cousins are crying out for help. They need our help. They need our support. They want our help. They want our support. And this is indeed a moment for both prayer and action, for wisely selecting meditations for our personal strength. I was going to say medications. That's not right. For wisely selecting meditations for our personal strength, and our assertively interrupting a course of action which might cause Israel to lose its head. I hope that this eventuality will not come to pass. This kind of struggle is difficult, yet we must not give up on family. We cannot give up on mishpacha. Yes, we often disagree with members of the Israeli mishpacha, members of our Israeli family. We might struggle and contend with them a lot. But in the final analysis, they are our family. We are stuck with one another, for good and for ill. And the battles in which we engage are indeed worthy, but for the reason that they are family. We are connected with Israel through our history, through our culture, through actual relationship ties, and our willingness to call ourselves Israel just as they do. Those who struggle with the divine. That's the name, what Israel means, struggling with the divine, which means that their struggles are indeed for the sake of heaven. In relation to the land of Israel, during this important moment in time, strivings like these can change the profile of a land that we know and love. So I implore us to do a couple of things. I implore us to learn more about the situation in Israel today, and let us think about how we can be helpful for our Israeli cousins. Yes, we can visit Israel, seeing for ourselves the difficulties wrought by its new government. It happens we have a congregational trip in a couple of months. Maybe you'll consider joining with us, those of you who haven't yet registered. We can write by email, and if you ask me, I'll get you the addresses. Write by email to Israeli lawmakers, both those who agree with us and those who may not agree with us, because we as proud diaspora Jews need to stand up and be counted as members of the community of Israel. We have to insist on the new government to pull back from the brink of disaster, because it can be terrible. We can make selective financial contributions to organizations that promote Israel's civil society. And we can speak up in her defense when anti-Semites lash out against her. All of these actions represent tefillah. They may not sound like prayer at first, but like that disruptive prayer that Abraham needed to make on behalf of Abimelech, these prayers that we make can demonstrate our passion, our connections, our intentions, and our true love for the land of Israel. I hope we begin with some kind of personal prayer over this weekend, seeking strength for the job ahead. And then have that same prayer commit ourselves to make the right interventions, the right interruptions, and seek Israel's welfare in this complicated world. To conclude what I offer tonight, I'd like to offer these words. They're from Psalm 122. Because these words, this psalm, speaks about our love for the state of Israel. And it goes like this. I rejoiced when they said to me, we are going up to the house of the Eternal, to Jerusalem. Finally, Jerusalem, our feet stood inside your gates, a city where tribes would make pilgrimage to praise the name of God. There, the thrones of judgment stood, thrones of the house of David. So let us pray for the well-being of Jerusalem. May those who love you be at peace. May there be well-being within your ramparts, peace in your citadels. For the sake of my kith and kin, I pray for your well-being. For the sake of the house of the eternal God, I seek your good. May this be the prayer that each of us can utter. And let us say amen. Shabbat Shalom. I would like to invite the Kahn family to join us on the bima and ask the rest of the congregation to turn to page 123 as we offer tonight the Kiddush. The Kahn family is here as loving guests and supporters of Donovan Cito and his family, and they are helping to lead Kiddush tonight. So again, page 123. Here's some fruit of the vine. Cantor, we can take that one. And we offer Kiddush tonight, page 123. Please join us and lead us in. Borei peri hagafen, Baruch atah Adonai,
Einu melech haolam, asher kishanu
Tzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziyat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat l'chaim. He can't get drunk on that, I don't think. By the way, in case it's not evident either by the materials tonight, which it should be, or just by our actions and our worship tonight, tomorrow morning we are so joyful as we welcome Donovan Cito to our bima as a bar mitzvah tomorrow. Donovan, we're looking forward to worshiping with you and having you as part of our community. And we invite all of us to come and be with us tomorrow morning at 10:30 as we welcome you to our bima. And we thank the Kahn family and you, of course, and your grandmother, Kira, for worshiping with us and leading us in these important prayers tonight. Thank you. We'd like to invite the community to turn to page 586 in the prayer book. Our worship continues with Aleinu. We invite the congregation to rise. Page 586. Ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breishit, shehu note shamayim veyosed aretz, umoshav yikaro, bashamayim imal, ushchinatu so begovhei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Please be seated. We continue on page 591 at the top. Please join one another. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May the memory of the righteous always be a blessing. At this sacred moment, we recall those who have gone from our world, yet whose essence remains in our hearts, as our life, as our spirit, as our guideposts along the way. If you are here tonight in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, we invite you to rise as the name of your loved one is recited. But now we remember those who died in the last 30 days and those whose Yahrzeiten occur at this time, the anniversary of their passing. We remember how they influenced our lives. We remember the love they shared, the good lessons that they imparted to us continue to be part of who we are. In the recent 30 days, we recall these people who passed away. We recall Arlene Wench, Maxine Frank, and Sandy Nessel. And these are the Yahrzeiten that we observe at this time in continuing devotion and memory. We recall Tony Blinstrub, William L. Blockstein, Florence Burstein-Sinaiko, Annabelle Davidson, Eva Deutschkron, Lottie Frank, Eleanor Friedman, Gary Friedman, Robert Brank Fulton, Monroe Glazer, Bernie Goldstein, Shoshana Goodman, Glenn Harvey, Seth Kaner, Frank Kaplowitz, Holly Mitchell Kelly, Ellen Cook, Martin Kozlov, Joseph Krasno, William Lederer, Clara Levin, Alice Levy, Hazel Sinaiko Marianne, Evelyn Minkoff, Jerome Rivitz, Abraham M. Rubin, Cecil Julius Schubert, Sandy Schwartz, Jerry Schreiberg, Saul Sinaiko, Leonard Steinig, Marvin Sweet, Saul Weinswig, Bruce Wilson, Ruth Wolfson. We remember, too, those who died in the recent major earthquakes along the Turkish-Syrian border. We remember also innocent Israelis and Palestinians who have died in recent acts of violence and terror. There may be other worshipers in this community of consolation tonight who are remembering loved ones whose names are not somehow on our Kaddish list. And if you would like to add names to our list, we invite you to do so. Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be blessings in our hearts, in the hearts and minds of all those who knew and loved them. Testifying to the faith that binds the generations of our people together, we now invite you to turn to page 598, and as a community we rise and we offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol bir chata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imeru amen. Yehi shlama rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imaru. Amen. May God send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who remember on this night. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Our service is about to conclude, and when it does, we are all invited to the Weinstein Community Court to savor an Oneg Shabbat, which tonight is sponsored by Kira Cito in honor of her grandson Donovan's becoming a bar mitzvah. So we thank you very much, Kira, and please join one another in the community court as soon as we are through here. Need I remind you again that tomorrow morning at 10:30, we welcome Donovan to our bima as a bar mitzvah. So be with us at that time. Tomorrow morning also at 9 o'clock, there will be Torah study. We'll be talking about the parasha of Terumah. I'm going to be leading Torah study tomorrow morning, which will be live and present here in room 110 down the hall, or you can also catch it on Zoom. Next Friday evening, there's a couple of things, so many things happening this week, I think. This coming Sunday, there is a mini board retreat for members of our board of directors. It's lasting from 3 to 5 o'clock. So if you are watching and are part of that August group, remember that we have a little mini retreat this coming Sunday. Please be with us. Preparations are underway for our Purim spiel and Purim celebrations. First of all, on Sunday, March 5th, there will be a Purim carnival hosted this year at Beth Israel Center. There's also a Maddie Youth Group Purim event that afternoon, on a week from Sunday. And a week from Monday evening, March 6th, is our Purim spiel and dinner. Not in that order, actually. It's dinner first and then spiel. But please join us for that crazy occasion. And it'll be a little crazy. So join us for that as well. Next Friday evening, we have worship at 6 p.m. It's preceded by a pre-neg Shabbat, Nash at 5:30. So be with us at that time. And a week from tomorrow, on Saturday, the 4th of March, there'll be Torah study led by Steve Olson. And I see that our confirmation class is going to begin its preparation for confirmation at that time. So if anybody is connected with any of those events, or you'd like to be, please go to our website at tbemadison.org for more details and registration. By the way, if you happen to look at the program this evening and you see some crazinesses there, it's only the beginning, and there'll be more next week as well. They're just some small changes, just to see if you're paying attention. So enjoy them if you can. Anything that we need to announce further, Cantor?
I'd only say that as I am preparing for the evening service, it's going to immediately come before our spiel. If there is any tune that you think a prayer could be set to, that you think would be really fun, funny, a little irreverent, please send it my way. I'm always looking for ideas.
What if we had a tune for a traditional tune for a prayer that we want to set to a different prayer?
Sure.
Oh, we'll see. Anyway. We want to invite you to turn to page 652 in the prayer book as we conclude with what we hope is a song of inspiration and good feelings. Ani ve'ata.
A song of hope from the Israeli kind of folk pop music canon, from Arik Einstein, who was, I think, just again one of those big figures in Israeli music history, and this melody, I think, has also been a favorite amongst our monthly Saturday morning minyan, Leiled minyan as well. Expression of hope for the future, and that indeed we all have a chance to actually use our agency, use our voice and our actions to indeed make changes that we wish to see. Ani ve'ata nishane et ha'olam. Ani ve'ata az yavo'u kvar kulam. Amru et ze kodem lefanai ze lo mishane. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה ננסה מההתחלה. יהיה לנו רע, אין דבר, זה לא נורא. אמרו את זה קודם, לפניי לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה, אז יבואו כבר כולם. אמרו את זה קודם, לפניי לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Be well.